Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaser King coming to you. I'm going to give you a free over-under. I gave you a free pick. Now I'm giving you a free over-under. Again, the website is www.teaserking.com. I have 4 locks going this week. Just for $100, you get 4 strong picks. You can play them any way you want. You can play them together, you can play them separately. If you got a game, you can play them in multiple teasers for multiple amounts. Again, if I put 777 as the amount, I'm telling you to bet 7 units. If I put 977, it's 9 units. 577 is 5 units. And I believe the most successful way you can bet on football, probably any sport, is to vary the amount, and the stronger plays, or the plays with more confidence, you bet a little bit more. Because if you bet them all the same, it's very, very hard to win. You have to stagger the bet. The ones with more confidence that you feel better about, you bet more on, and then you win with those, and that's exactly what you're trying to do. So I don't have to go perfect and pick 100%. Although last year I was 80% on my lock picks, so very successful, and I hope to do that this year. Over-unders are kind of new for me. I never really paid much attention to them until a couple years ago. I started experimenting with them, and I'll tell you, I think they're very much easier to pick in certain instances than the game is. And I'll give you an example on the video. But what you're looking for is explosive teams playing explosive teams playing weak defenses, but the offense is good. That's an over. You're looking for a weak quarterback with a great defense playing another average offense with a great defense, or strong defenses. You're looking for strong defenses against each other when they really don't have a strong quarterback, or they're a running type of team. So again, part of my locks are the over-unders this week. I see just several games. I think I picked 12 games, but I got 4 locks, so should be a great first week. And again, I think if you take the college, it's $100, but it gives you the locks. Or if you just want the locks, you can buy them. They're also $100. But that's what you're getting is locks that I went 80% on last year. I think maybe 81%. So you're not getting a guy going 50% on his locks charging you $10. You're getting what you're paying for. Here, I'd like to think you're getting what you're paying for also. So let's look at a couple of over-unders. If you've listened to my other videos, I have given you some games in that. But let's go to a game I really love. BYU plays Arizona. Arizona laying 1.5. Over-under is 62. Well, 4 ways to play the game. Do I like BYU as the dog getting 7.5? Do I like Arizona up to 4.5 at home? Do I like over 56, or do I like under 68? Well, let's look at the teams. BYU has 2 very strong quarterbacks. Ty Detmer is now the offensive coordinator, and they got a new coach, so they're more apt to play more passing with Ty Detmer, and they have the quarterbacks to do it. And they both played very well last year, so if one gets injured, you still have the other. They're playing Arizona with Anu Solomon back, who's very explosive. Let me get to theirs. They averaged 37 a game and gave up 36 a game last year, so they averaged 73s. BYU, and you got to be careful because they got Ty Detmer they were a 33 and a 28, so they averaged 61. Both of them have the quarterbacks, and both should have strong offenses this year, very strong offenses. So Arizona, their quarterback's back, and but they got a very weak defense. They were actually 114th in defense last year. And sure, that's playing Arizona State and Oregon and UCLA and USC, but still, UCLA's defense wasn't nearly as bad as 114. So what I look at is very explosive team in Arizona with a very weak defense. against another fairly explosive team, which should be more explosive with Ty Detmer as their offensive coordinator, with good quarterbacks. BYU always has talent, and BYU should be able to stay with them based on Arizona's weak defense. And Rich Rod never had a good defense at Michigan. I don't buy the 3-3-5. I don't understand it. It seems to be, maybe good against the pass, but these teams can run on them like nothing. And I don't think you set it. I think you run a 4-3 sometimes, and then you bring in the fifth defensive back, the nickel pack. Well, that's normal on passing situations, but you don't play it all the time. So anyway, BYU plays pretty well on the road. Last year, they beat Nebraska. So they might be a live dog. You could take 7.5, but Arizona can light it up at home. So I really don't want to mess with that. Arizona could easily win by 10 or 14, and you wouldn't be surprised, and then you lose. On the other hand, BYU, I can take Arizona plus 4.5, but BYU can go there and game could be close and win by a touchdown at the end. You lose Arizona in 4.5. It's hard to trust a team with a bad defense to, even if they get a 20-point lead, here comes BYU back, which is the beauty of this pick. Well, I can't go under 68 with an explosive offense in Arizona with no defense and a very good offense with a good defense on BYU. Arizona will score. So that leaves it, the only alternative in this bet and the best play in this game is over 56. If you go 56, you're looking at, what do you got to get? 30 to 28 is a 58. So I kind of base it on that. Do I think Arizona scores 30? Without question, they'll score probably in the 40s. Do I think BYU is going to score 30? Without question, with Detmer's calling and their quarterbacks and Arizona's weak defense, I don't see how they won't score 30. But I think both teams get at least 30 points. It could be 40 to 30 either way. So I can't really, my hands are tied taking BYU in 7.5, taking Arizona plus 4.5. I don't really like either one with any confidence. But what I do like is over 56. That's 30 to 28. So all both teams need is 30 and I'm a winner. Or a 40 and a 20 is a winner. So if one team starts routing the other team, if either team gets up, the other team can throw and come back. Arizona gets up and they get them up 40 to 10. BYU can score. And if BYU gets up, Arizona's going to score. So you got that part of the comeback there. Neither team, the defense isn't going to stop the offense here. So this is a beautiful over here. So take Arizona BYU over 56. And let's give you a nice other one. Who should I give you? I got so many. It's hysterical. All right. Well, we'll go to let's go to Western Kentucky and Rice. Over under 63. Western Kentucky's laying 16.5. New quarterback for Western Kentucky, but he's been there a while. This is actually a conference game, which makes it very intense for Western Kentucky. They were the number 4 offense last year in the country, and they're kind of weak against the pass defensively. They average 44 and 26. They average 70 points a game. Here you got them at 63 down to 6 to 57. Rice has a new quarterback, so I'm a little leery about that, but they have a strong offense, and they're going to an up-tempo pass offense, which should score. They are very weak against the passing offense. They were at 26 and 36 for a 62 last year. So they can score 26, and this is in conference. And they give up 36. So, yeah, Howard, you could probably play Western Kentucky down to 10.5 in a teaser. Probably a good play, but we don't know how offensive Rice is and how the new quarterback at Western Kentucky is and things like that. But Western Kentucky is a Brian Brom coach team, which runs the Louisville offense when they were explosive. I don't see why they won't score a lot. I think they can easily put up a 50 in this game. At least, let's say at least 44. You need 56. You need 12 points from Rice. Rice has gone to a pretty explosive offense. They're very strong offensively, an average 26. So I think that Western Kentucky scores a lot in the game. I think Rice should score a lot in the game with the new offense they're running. The quarterback, I rate him as a 6, so he's probably pretty good. And I don't think Western Kentucky's defense, they got a weak pass defense, so Rice should be able to get into the 20s here. So you can probably take Western Kentucky laying 10.5, but I like the over in this game at 57. I think Western Kentucky wins it 44-20. Is not out of the question. That's a 64, and I think that's minimum. And you need 57. I think that's the bottom score is 44-20. Western Kentucky maybe puts up a 50 in the game, and probably goes over by itself almost. So let's say 51-28 is probably a more likely score. So that's a 79. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for explosive offenses playing weak defenses. Both teams aren't going to stop each other. Western Kentucky, this new quarterback, he's been around, so he knows the system. He's not a. I think he's played a little bit before, but he's good. Western Kentucky's going to recruit well. They're going to recruit their style, and they're going to make. They're going to get quarterbacks who do it. And it's a lot of the offense. The scheme of the offense, this guy is going to be a good quarterback. He's not going to be, it's like Baylor. You lose RG3 and you get Seth Russell, you get Bryce Petty, you get Seth Russell, you got another kid behind Seth Russell. You don't have to worry about the quarterback because the guy knows how to recruit his quarterback and he can play, and they're going to attract a better quarterback. So like Baylor is the ultimate over. But that's what I look at here is very strong play. It's a conference game. Western Kentucky needs it, and Rice is a 62. I mean, Western Kentucky will probably score 50 by themselves, and Rice should be in the 20s, maybe even get to the 30s. And who knows? They might get in the 40s if this kid's a real good quarterback. But it's hard to play the game, Western Kentucky or Rice. I mean, maybe Rice in 22 is a great play. Maybe Western Kentucky minus 10. But you don't know because of the quarterback, but because of the systems, there'll be a lot of scoring, and because the defenses are weak, they're not going to stop them. Well, that's what we want in an over game. So there's your over. Take Western Kentucky over 57. Play it with the BYU-Arizona over of 56. And this is where I'm really making a lot of money is instead of trying to pick the game, I'll take Western Kentucky minus 10.5. And they win by 7 and you lose, or BYU, Arizona. How the hell can you pick that game? Even in a teaser, I can get 7.5 from BYU. Arizona's explosive at home. BYU, new coach and and a new offensive coordinator. So it tends to be there should be a lot of scoring. Before I would have taken BYU in 7.5 and held my breath because Arizona's at home and explosive. Now it's so much. It's a lot easier going. This is an over game. You got explosive teams with weak defenses, and there you go. I mean, there's certain teams like a Michigan when they're laying 7 and you cut them to 1. And I've been doing this a lot with Michigan State the last few years. Anytime they're laying 1, it's a lot. They're going to win the game, and that's what you want are those teams. But you don't have it here. Well, anyway, so there's your free over/under. Again, I have a few going. And I think I have a couple lock over-unders going. I think I have a lock over-under. So I have 4 locks going this week. Please go to the site, www.teaserking.com. $100 buys you the lock if you want. I think it's $300 buys you the whole month of locks. And you can see I'm going to always have 3-4 locks a week between the over-unders and the games. So that's what I look at. So anyway, good luck, and I wish you profitable year, and have a nice Labor Day holiday. www.teaserking.com. Good luck, everybody.